Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So, as I mentioned earlier, while the mobile app is still in development, I'll walk you through the design prototype to give you a clear picture of the user experience and the functionality that we're building towards the Tani ATS. This prototype is going to represent the how the operational flow will happen in a real world scenario. So it's still going to be the same flow, and when we have launched and you have access to the mobile app, it's still going to be the same flow you can follow to basically use it. So, as I mentioned before, it's the student managers, which can be teachers, that have access to this product, which is the Tani ATS mobile app. Once they download it, preferably on the tablet, they are going to see this landing page. They can get started and they can log in with their information. Remember that the school admin is going to invite a student manager. Within those information that they're using to invite a student manager, they have the email. So an invitation mail is going to be sent to the student manager for them to log in with the default password, which is what is going to happen here. They will provide their email and their password. Then they log in. If the system detects that, oh, this is the first time they're logging in, it will prompt them to change their default password to a password of their choice. Now, once they log in, they get to see this dashboard that shows the metrics of the attendance logs from their side. They is the main navigation models here are the students and the attendance. Now, the student module handles the registration of students. So here, the first page that the student manager is going to see is going to be the classes screen. Here you can see all the classes that were assigned to them by the school admin. For example, I was assigned primary 1A. Once I view it, I can see all the students that have been registered under primary 1A. To register a student, we simply click on this add student button, and then we fill in their information like the student's name, the student's ID, the class, which is going to be auto-populated, which is in our case is going to be primary 1A, the date of birth of that student, the name of the parents or guardian, and the guardian's phone number. This is going to help us with the notification system that we're building, where once a student is checked in or checked out, a guardian is going to automatically receive a real-time notification of that action. So after providing these details, we can see a brief summary and we can go ahead to register the student space. Upon clicking proceed, we are navigated to this page to basically capture the student space. Once we click on capture, what is going to happen is that the camera of the tablet or the mobile device is going to open up. We accept the permissions and we're going to take a picture of that child. Once that picture is taken, it's going to be sent to our model, which is offline at the moment, then synced to the cloud. So the process like that happens is this: the student space is taken, then it is sent to the model to basically convert it into an embedding. Then we create a then that embedding is going to be sent to our vector database in cloud through the Tani SDK that we already have. Remember that Tani is not just for facial recognition, we have it for anything identity verification, which includes fingerprints, even sound audio. We are working towards that. So once this face is captured, it's going to be converted into an embedding, which is basically a numeric representation of the student's face, and it's going to be captured and stored in a vector database, which is a special database for handling those kind of numeric representations. So now that the student space has been captured and it has been stored in the DB, we see that the student space has now been registered and we can complete registration. So now the student space has been added successfully. So the data of the students is going to be stored on our main database, not our vector database. It's going to store the information like the student's name, student's ID, the class, and other relevant information is going to be stored on the our main database, while everything representing the student's special data is going to be stored on our vector database. So now the main flow happens when we do our attendance. Now to conclude, to do attendance, we go to the attendance module on the mobile app. So let's think about it in a real world scenario. It's Today is the 31st of July. Let's assume it's 8 a.m. and the student is coming into the classroom, is coming into the school. At the point of entry, the tablet is going to be there. What is going to happen is that the student manager or the personnel that is in charge of scanning is going to open the mobile app, log in, and go to the attendance module. Once they go to the attendance module, they're going to click on the log attendance button. Then remember, there's clock in and clock out. Clock in is when we are scanning the student's face to come into the school. Clock out is when we're checking them out. So we click on clock in for this scenario and we click on continue. Then we have to capture the student's face. We click on capture button, and what is going to happen is that we're going to take a picture of that student's face. Once that picture is taken, this is where the magic happens. So once that picture is taken, the model is going to convert it into a embedding, which is a mathematical representation of that student's face. Then what we're going to do is that we're going to do some fancy mathematics where we're going to compare that embedding of this student's face to all the embeddings that we have of on our vector database. So such of like a sort and search where that is happening very fast because we're using linear algebra to calculate the similarity, where we are taking that student's face, the facial data that we took, and was comparing with all the facial data that we have in our database. What is going to happen is that we're going to now find a match, basically a vector that matches the vector that we took. So once that is done, we're going to fetch that match and identify that the student that was scanned is Adewale Gerard. This is the student ID, and this is his primary, this is his class, sorry, and this is his guardian. So when we click on clocking, the student's data is going to be saved as clocked in. The guardian is going to receive a notification that that child has been logged in, has been clocked in from wherever they are. So the same thing happens when the child is going out. Once they clock in, at the end of the school session, the, at the point of exit, the students can also clock out, and it's the same process that happens where they have to scan their face, and the process of capturing that fish, my apologies, converting it into a numerical representation, a number basically, then doing a compare and construct of all the facial data that we have in our vector database, then finding the right space. So that same flow happens here. So that concludes the flow of basically capturing the student spatial data and also checking in their face and checking out their face. And please be mindful that we also have offline functionalities for this. Even with cases, scenarios, or environments that have very low or poor network connectivity, sorry, this is still going to happen and work very well. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.